What's up guys, Yordle Man, the Waifu Collector here, still the only fair human on Earth, and PlayStation is up to something that, when taken at face value, seems a little weird and could ruffle some feathers, but really only when taken at face value, because they have announced a couple of games with some well-known franchises, and those games are not on PlayStation, which seems unusual. So let's talk about it. This started off with a kind of random announcement of a new Ratchet & Clank multiplayer game, but like I said, this new game is not on PlayStation. It's called Ratchet & Clank Ranger Rumble, and it is a mobile game for, of course, iOS and Android. And this isn't unheard of or anything. You know, companies who are big on exclusivity or typically console exclusive franchises having a mobile game, that's not unheard of. Even Nintendo has done this, even with their biggest franchises, Mario Run, Mario Kart Tour, and a whole bunch of Pokemon phone games. So this isn't all that strange, and Ratchet & Clank, while I wouldn't call it dormant, is not the most active franchise, you know? Their last game was 4 years ago, and there doesn't appear to be a new one anywhere in sight, especially with the Marvel games that Insomniac does being way more lucrative and in demand. So I think a lot of people who are fans of Ratchet & Clank will just take what they can get, you know? Mobile multiplayer shooter or whatever? Fuck it, I'll take it, you know? But yeah, what kind of game is this anyway? It's a bit hard to tell based on the trailer, but there appears to be a few game modes. One that looks like Ratchet and Rocket League or some shit. I don't know. Lucio Ball or whatever. Ratchet Ball maybe. But like mainly it kinda looks like a chaotic old school style arena shooter. Like old Halo multiplayer, Unreal Tournament, that kind of thing. It seems to be leaning in that direction, but like I said, maybe with a pinch more chaos or like map events maybe. There seem like there might be objectives, almost like a MOBA jungle or something too. Notes of League of Legends kinda. Whatever the case, I don't think this one was super weird, but this game did get announced. And pretty much whenever a mobile version or spin-off of a game gets announced, there is a collective groan from the front-facing gaming community. I say the front-facing gaming community because mobile gaming is actually huge, but they just seem to play the games they enjoy and enjoy them in silence, and they vote with their time and money. However, shortly after the Ratchet & Clank announcement, PlayStation announced another game, and the response to this one seems a little more sour. This is an all-new Horizon game, Horizon Steel Frontiers. This is a big MMORPG with combat and presentation that is predictably quite a bit like Monster Hunter, and it looks pretty good, it looks pretty cool, but the big sour note with this game is that again, it's for mobile primarily, but also available on PC through an official emulator. No PlayStation. And there's a couple of reasons why Horizon Steel Frontiers is pissing people off, and Ratchet & Clank Ranger Rumble really isn't. First off, Horizon, unlike Ratchet & Clank, is a very active franchise. Yes, Forbidden West was 3 years ago, but the DLC was in 2023, and last year in 2024, they randomly dropped that LEGO spinoff. And as far as the potential for new games in the future, quite a bit more promising than Ratchet, because we know of multiple projects that are coming for Horizon. So it is a way more active exclusive franchise for PlayStation here in the modern day. So it annoys fans a bit more when a mobile game is released for Horizon as opposed to Ratchet & Clank. And the second reason this game's announcement is generating sour grapes is the inclusion of PC. The question becomes, how can a PlayStation exclusive title, a PlayStation banner franchise, be not only on mobile, but PC and not PlayStation? If it was just mobile, people would say, fine. Right? Whatever. That's just mobile. Not real gaming. Blah, blah, blah. Right? But how can this PlayStation franchise be on two separate platforms and neither of them be PlayStation? That's what's ruffled the feathers. And I understand the being disgruntled. I don't know that I agree, but I get it. However, and I'll just start here, could you blame PlayStation/Sony if they thought that you guys just wouldn't want it. You guys being the PlayStation players, of which I am one, I'm just saying. Because a lot of their similar online live service multiplayer ventures have been met on PlayStation with not just disinterest, but utter contempt. Have you guys forgotten how much you hated Concord? Even before anyone played that game, everyone hated it with their whole soul. And don't forget that Marathon was just lambasted earlier this year, and there is and was zero interest in Fair Games, the heist game that they announced years ago. They also canceled The Last of Us's multiplayer game and the Spider-Man multiplayer game, probably at least in part because they were scared to damage the reputations of those dev teams. The only multiplayer exploit of theirs that worked was Helldivers, and that game saw a lot of its success, most of it even, especially early on, because of the PC audience, not the PlayStation audience. And I talked about this before, back when Concord happened, that the real difference between live service stuff that was working and what PlayStation was trying was that things that were working were not made by PlayStation. The people were communicating that in regard to multiplayer, we don't want it from PlayStation. At least that was part of it. And maybe the other part of it is that people will accept co-op multiplayer from PlayStation, but not competitive? Could be. So in that case, Horizon Steel Frontiers would be okay to release on PS5 possibly. But listen to all that information to sift through, parse out, and ultimately gamble on with all the ifs and buts. And they're playing with big money. So maybe they just decided to take the safe bet and assume the PlayStation players don't want this. And if it turns out later that they do want it, well, maybe it can get a port. So yeah, it's a little weird, the big PlayStation franchise not being on PlayStation, but I understand giving the game to the people you think actually want to play it as well. Also though, I know there might be some confusion because Guerrilla Games has been working on a big Horizon multiplayer game ahead of Horizon 3, but Horizon Steel Frontiers is not that game. This is something else. Guerrilla is still working on what is presumably a bigger and probably more expensive multiplayer Horizon game in-house. And to that I say, it's gonna be really awkward if the mobile game ends up being the better of the two, honestly. Like, just imagine that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. What do you guys think? Let me know your opinion on any of this. I'm pretty indifferent about it emotionally, but I am fascinated by the development. But yeah, share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more fair and fun gaming talk. Thanks in advance. And even if you forget everything I said in this video, just remember that I am Yordle Man, the waifu collector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I have never convinced anyone of anything ever. Goodbye.